Hi, it's Gail. I just want to ask you, do you make stress a habit? I've known people in my life that if they're not stressed, they're not distraught, they're not in misery in some form or fashion, they're just not happy. That's the subject for today. Why do I bring that subject up today? Because someone in my life has been stewing and fretting and commiserating miserably how stressed they are over something coming up in their life. It is the tiniest little blip on the radar, but this person has expanded it to make it something bigger than what it is. And it reminds me that we all do that to a certain extent, and we make our lives miserable. Some people have the comfort they get from going into that mode because they don't know anything else. My mom, my brother and I remember her differently. And he always reminds me that mom was always stressed and mom always worried. I don't remember my mother that way, but I do know that my mother died at a very young age of cancer. And what do they tell us about stress? It causes our body to malfunction in so many places. So this person I'm talking about is suddenly not feeling well. Have you ever been in a stressful situation and you can't help but be in that situation and your stomach is just turning and knots and oh my goodness, the anxiety. Oh, this hair too. Anyway, there is a way I truly believe that you can sometimes shift. Not all situations will allow you to do that. There are some situations, life-threatening situations, situations that are totally out of our control that we are so torn because of what's going on. I've been there. I have friends that are there. I understand that. I'm not saying that I have a magic bullet to de-stress you. But let's focus on the things that you can resolve and not stress over. I bought my husband the calendar. This is the second year. Don't sweat the small stuff. And everything is the small stuff. Well, we know everything isn't small. So I'm not going to address the big, humongous things, the big elephant in the room that you can't do anything about. But what about those little things? What about those little things that you can go, well, you know what? I'm really concerned about this, but I'm not going to live or die by this choice that I make. Or I'm not going to be absolutely mortified if it goes this way. So how can I look at it differently? I had that situation this morning with someone I dearly care about, and I just referenced it back and said, maybe remind yourself how much fun this was at the beginning, why you're doing it, and instead of worrying about it and stressing about it, go back to where you started. Embrace the fun again. And, I have to have that conversation with myself. Woo! Me, myself, and I, something like that. Okay, I have to have that conversation with myself in learning all this social media stuff and the podcasting and the just the technical stuff. Like I'm going to be doing a WordPress blog. Okay, well, I've done those, but it was all set up for me. I didn't like it. So now I'm going to go create my own. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm listening to a wonderful expert this morning telling me how to take this plugin and put it in here and how to do this and how to do that. And I'm like, oh. And I'm going, what? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. So go back and take that first nibble. Conquer that. Then put the ketchup on and go back and have the second bite. So I teach myself these lessons as well. I'm not coming on here and saying I am the perfect example. I'm going through that. And that's why I bring them to you, because I want to share ways that I have found that have helped me. So I go back and I go, if I do this, will it benefit me to go through this little hiccup? Or do I want to not do it? So I actually put choices in front of myself. And I decide that I talk about I love learning, so I got to go back to the part where I love it and have fun with it. And that's my message for today. If you can take the stress you're going through, and it's the kind of thing that's not going to break you, not going to harm someone, and you can actually readdress how you approach it, then maybe do that. Maybe look at it and say, hey, that could be fun. Or if I do this, I could do it this way. Now, I plan to do a podcast, which are much longer versions, about some of the stories and some of the places I've been that stress literally almost took me down, and how I actually ended up facing that. So you can tune into my podcast at thegailfolleyshow.com and hear that. It'll probably be tomorrow's, but it's an audio. So you don't have to see my crazy hair or my silly stuff, but I did want to share that with you today. So do me that big favor. Pass on a smile. You'll make a difference in someone's life today, big or small. Do it. Thanks. Bye-bye.